Hello and welcome to YouTube Talk with MagicCatJenny. I'm Jenny, and today I'm joined by Thomas Tulak from the Easily Amused group. YouTube Talk is a live
Hello.
podcast that's all about YouTube and the YouTube community because though YouTube is great, it should not take over your life. Welcome, Thomas. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you
Why
for having
don't,
me.
oh, of course, of course. Why don't you tell everyone a little bit about yourself and about your YouTube channel and the type of videos you make?
Okay. Um, well, for the longest time, my videos have been kind of the comedic vlog thing. Like, I don't do the traditional, like, autobiographical vlogs. I just kind of, crack jokes and stuff. But lately, I've been kind of moving away from that in a completely different direction that I'm still trying to work out. It's more like geared toward filmmaking and stuff, which kind of goes into this topic that we're talking about today, as my channel is going through a slight change in content.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. But basically, I tell people my channel, the Easily Amused group, is a channel for anybody that, oh, look, shiny. That was a joke, or tried to be a joke.
Sure. Yeah. No, it's interesting when you asked me when I asked you what you want to talk about, and you said how about, balancing your real life with YouTube. It's very different for different people and also for the different type of videos you make.
Yeah.
So, does your channel have a schedule and did it ever? And
It
has that
did.
changed? It did. Okay.
Very much. Yes, it has changed. Okay, so it was like the thing on YouTube. Like everyone had a schedule. That was your
Mm-hmm.
thing. And for the longest time, my schedule was every Monday I would upload a new video, and that lasted for a while. And then over time, with life and job and girlfriend and things, that became more and more difficult to maintain as my videos became more and more complex. I mean,
Yeah,
for a
definitely.
lot of the people that just kind of talk to their phone and then post that,
Sure.
it's fine. It takes 5 minutes. But when you're doing videos that you take hours to script out, hours to film, and then hours upon hours and hours to edit, that becomes
Mm-hmm.
harder to manage. So lately, I've for the past year I threw the schedule out the window and kind of just went
Mm-hmm.
with whatever I can do whenever I can do it,
Sure.
because that's
Yeah.
not, it's more attainable that way.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and
then, yeah,
you're not sacrificing quality just to get a video up.
right, right. Now, on the other hand, the downside, though, is that the internet's attention span is so short that people forget about you. So when you post a new video, they're like, wait, oh yeah, this guy exists.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna ask you if you've seen any, I don't know, decline or anything different in your viewers'
Oh
behavior
yeah,
because you've stopped with the schedule.
absolutely, absolutely have. Now, like when I was on the schedule, my views were averaging a couple of hundred views per video. Now I'm lucky if I reach 100,
Yeah.
which is, yeah, it's kind of depressing. But whatever, it is what it is.
It's hard, but if if your main reason for doing YouTube is because you like doing it and you like creating something amazing, it doesn't always feel that way, but it can kind of, if you're proud of your video, it's almost
Yeah.
better than if you just throw something up that you don't really like, yet a ton of people like it. It's a balance. So I don't know. I'm really glad that you're doing more of these really narrative short film type things. They're really interesting.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's more important to me. I mean, obviously, not everybody shares these goals, but to me, it's more important to have content that I'm proud of, that
Yeah.
I like, and I hold my content to a specific standard that if I don't meet, then I just like I've gone through periods of changing that standard and trying something else and going in a different direction, and then I find that when I do that, afterward, I look at it and I'm like, what? That didn't work. I didn't like that. I didn't like that I did that. And I don't like that I did that. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
so now I go
Yeah.
back to these standards that I hold myself to. Huh? Do I have an example? I'm being asked. Okay, yeah, I have a perfect example, actually. Earlier this year, was it this year? No, it was last year. I started going through looking at, okay, these videos that I like aren't really getting attention. I'm going
Hmm.
to try talking about movies and pop culture stuff. So I made a movie reviews and like movie news type stuff. So I
Hmm.
made a video talking about how Matt Smith was cast in the Terminator movie. This was like a year before Terminator came out, right?
Hmm.
And I treated it like it was a late night talk show, and I cracked some jokes like it was a monologue and all these things. And that video did really well. That video, like, thousands of views. Like, I was
Yeah.
shocked at how well that was. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna keep at this, and I put out a couple more just like it. And then, like, after a month of doing that kind of stuff, I look back and I'm like, I don't like this because it's too relevant to the time now. Like in a year, you go back and look at this, and it won't make sense anymore. You know
Yeah,
what I
it's
mean?
it's not it's not evergreen content. It'll get those views initially because it's what everybody's talking about, but it won't get any library views ever again,
Exactly.
really. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a balance there. And I've definitely people have given me the advice of, oh, do movie reviews of movies that have just come out and things that, trending topics. And sometimes if it's something I love, I'm more likely to be like, yeah, I want to talk about this, but most of the time, it's like I don't
Yeah.
feel strongly enough to make a video about it just for the
Right.
views.
Right. See, now there was one that I did feel strong. I've been a Transformers fan ever since I was
Hmm.
knee high, right? And so I did a rant while I was doing this whole movie review thing. I did a rant about the fourth Transformers movie. The rant was like 15 minutes long. I literally
Hmm.
just turned on the camera and started ranting, which is not what I usually do. I usually own all kinds of jump cuts, but so
Hmm.
I just turned on the camera, started ranting. I had like a half hour's worth of ranting to edit through. I made a 15-minute rant. I posted it, and that blew up. Like everybody was going nuts for that video. But like now, like nobody cares anymore. And it's like you're
Yeah.
saying, it's the library views, because it
Yeah.
was relevant to the time that movie had just came out.
But
And
if you
so
keep
Hmm.
doing that, people watch
they'll watch it initially.
you initially, but
Yeah.
Now, see,
It's
it's more
it's a
important to me to
trade-off.
make content that you can go back and watch. Yeah, it's a trade-off.
Yeah, it's a trade-off, and I think a lot of people, the advice they give you is for your overall channel health is to do a little bit of both. But that's
Hmm.
kind of a general advice. If you don't want to have you know content that's not evergreen, then you won't
Right,
get the
right.
library views all the time, and that seems to be what you want. So it seems you're moving in that direction.
What
I
I
want.
the advice that I tell people is to make content that you like.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
If you don't worry about how other people are going to react. Make what makes you happy.
Yeah, I bounce around a lot on my channel too because I tend to get into moods with watching certain things on YouTube, and the things I really like, then I'll do it myself because I like it. So it goes all over the place. But I wanted to ask
Yeah.
if since you've changed from doing a weekly YouTube show to doing now this more in-depth, more difficult to create content, do you ever feel like rusty when it comes to maybe like sitting in front of a camera and talking? Is like the breaks, since the breaks are longer, has that changed? I don't know. Have they been different?
Actually, a little bit, yeah. The last video that was like a sit in front of the camera and talk video that I did just before the Paper Towns movie came out, and I
Okay.
talked about how much I'm not looking forward to that movie because I love the book and the
Mhm.
Mervyn. Well, anyways, when I made it, I was like almost had stage fright. Like I almost was camera shy. I turned on the camera and I had to sit for a minute and like
Yeah.
make sure, okay, no one's around, I can do this. I actually had to sit there and be like, I can do this. I've done this a million times. I know I can do
Yeah.
this.
Psych yourself out a
And
little.
yeah, it's the stuff that I'm doing now, the more recent stuff on my channel, I'm behind the camera. And I've
Mhm.
got
Yeah.
actors that are in front.
Yeah.
And so it's I have to retrain into getting
Yeah.
into in front of the
It's
camera
a certain
mode.
mindset when you're vlogging or talking to a camera. You have to, sometimes for me, I even have to just set it up and just talk to it for a while before I start filming anything, just to get used to the sound of my own voice and to kind of.
I had to do that all the
get in the
time when I
right
first started.
mood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and this whole switch that I'm going through on my channel, this whole change thing, I feel like it kind of ties in with what the topic of this streaming thing is about. The reason why I'm going through the switch, balancing life and YouTube and all that, is because when you have so little time to work on your passion projects, because I have a full-time job. I don't like to say publicly what that job is, but I have a full-time job that demands a lot of my time. So I'm left with very little time throughout the week that I can actually work on making content. And so when you do that, when you're in that situation, like, you have to kind of be a grown-up and kind of list your priorities and decide what it is you really want to do,
Definitely.
And when it comes down to it, what the top of my list is not what I've been doing. I like doing what I've been doing. I like making the vlogs that, trying to make people laugh, but it's not the top of the list.
Yeah.
So now it's more important to spend those precious few hours on the things I want the most.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
definitely. Yeah, no, I completely understand. You have to, if you could only do one thing ever again, that's the thing you have to be working on when you have the time.
Right. Exactly. I saw it in a movie once. The best advice that I cannot remember for the life of me what the movie was, but the best advice along these lines that I've ever heard: make up your mind what it is that you want, and then once you've decided that, every decision you make from then on needs to be in support of that. I
Yeah.
can't remember what movie that was from. That's gonna bug me now.
You can look it up.
I'm gonna have to look it up
We can
later.
look it up later, for sure.
Okay.
So we're gonna screen two different things from your channel in the show, one at the very end and one right now. And it's interesting is they're both kind of the two different sides of what you've been doing. So right now we're gonna screen a comedy thing from you that also kind of illustrates the whole, being rusty with the vlogs. It's a really funny. It's a really funny clip. So.
Well, thank you. I'm so glad you think it's funny. That means a lot. Thank you.
All right, so let's screen the clip, Jim.
I recently took a break from YouTube videos, and so I found myself with an annoying little thing called spare time. It's a curious thing, finding oneself with an abundance of free time. One tends to find oneself trying new things. So I found myself sitting on the couch. I'm not sure how long I had been sitting there before it occurred to me I should probably turn on the TV. There was only one problem. I couldn't find the remote. It wasn't in the few places I looked in my immediate area, so I was about to give up when I recalled the possibility of getting up to turn on the TV, but it was really far. So I grabbed my hat, which is the source of all my power, and tried to jump cut to the TV. But I was on a break from YouTube, so it didn't work very well. Now the TV was further away. However, I was at least standing, but the residual jump cut energy caused an unexpected jump cut right into a wall.
That's really funny.
Thank you. Thank you.
I like that jump cuts they just happen to YouTubers.
Yeah, yes, it's kind of a thing that just all YouTubers do. They just have jump cuts happen to them.
Yeah.
I like that. When I did that, I know I made it sound like I was just on a break and had all this free time, but I didn't. Like, I was on a break because I had no time.
Because you had no time.
But,
yeah.
Exactly, yeah. But I made a decision early on in my YouTube career it's not really a career, but anyways, I made a decision early on in my YouTubing that I would not get very personal in my videos. Okay. I would leave the core, like my personal life, out of it as much as I can. So I don't like talking about my job or things like that. Only the really important stuff, like the video where I proposed to my girlfriend. That one I had to put up. You know what I mean? She's smiling at me. Anyways, so I don't talk about my job. I don't talk about things like that. So when I had to come up with as YouTubers do, a reason why I hadn't been on for a while, it was, I was just on this break, just watching a blank TV. Because I didn't want to say I'm working a full-time job,
Sure. So would you say that your YouTube persona is in a way, a caricature of yourself, like a version of yourself that you've created specifically for your videos?
My YouTube persona is the person I wish I was.
Oh,
It's the me that I would like to be. That if I didn't have life, job, and real world stresses, I would be this person that can jump cut and travel through time and cut my head off and do all these and have it not bother. Like I had another video where I talk about first world problems and top 5 reasons life sucks without a head, where I accidentally chopped my head off and my head's laying on the floor and I go, well, reason number 1, my neck gets cold, Yeah, that's not who I am. That's who I want to be.
You want to be. Really interesting. Wow. That's cool. So, what else do you have to say about YouTube, real life,
Um,
balance,
I'm
dealing with that,
balancing, yeah.
making it work?
It can be really frustrating, I
Yeah.
think, when you have this thing that you want. Like this is probably my biggest source of frustration when
Mhm.
I'm at my day job, and I have to do these things that I hate having to do, and I hate that I have to do them, and I just keep thinking about I have this video that I'm working on, and I want to get home and get working
Yeah.
on it, and I get home and I can do it for a couple hours, and oh, now I got to go to bed so I can go back to work tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it gets especially then also when you couple that with not wanting to talk about your personal life in your videos,
Mhm.
then you end up with this source of I want to make this video, but where do I get this? All I have to talk about is what I've been doing all day, but I've decided not to talk about that. So
Yeah.
that's why
Where do you
some of
get
the
your
other
inspiration?
exactly, which is you kind of just have to like bring it up out of somewhere,
Yeah.
unless you're willing to talk about that stuff, which is some of the
Mhm.
other clips that I brought up. This is a thing that I see happening with YouTubers all the time. They
Mhm.
disappear for months and months, and then they come back and they're like, sorry, I haven't made a video in a while. That's like the big thing. Sorry, I
Yeah.
haven't been here in a while, and then some excuse.
The
And so the other
apology
exactly, and
video.
I never liked that. That seems like a cliche cop out to me. So I've never wanted to do that.
Yeah,
But
you'd rather just show up again with no explanation and just like go back into it.
yeah, and just go right back in exactly.
Yeah.
But on the other side of that, not everybody's made that decision where they don't talk about their personal lives
Mhm.
and stuff, which is some of the other clips that I presented to you.
Yeah.
I don't know what you have lined up to run next, but
What I have lined up is from F Sound Studios, where you talk
perfect. That's the one I
about
was hoping.
jobs.
He is F Sound Studios. His name is his real name is Jake. He is a friend of mine, and he is a laugh riot. And I find myself constantly inspired by him to do better, to be better, and be funnier, and be on point. Because he'll put up a video, and I'll watch it, and I'll crack up, and then I'll be like, "Was my last video that funny? I don't know. I need to make a funnier one now." So,
Yeah, I've watched
um,
a few of his. They're really funny. He has a really like clear voice in his comedy. I don't know
yeah.
how to
And
describe it,
he's got a
but
very defined comedic style that
yeah.
works really
Yeah.
well. And so this specific one, it was after one of those long breaks.
Mhm.
Now Jake and I and a couple other friends, we every so often, every month at least, we try to. It goes more than a month sometimes, but we try to make it every month. We all get together on a Google Hangout and we just
Mhm.
talk about this stuff. But so
Nice.
I know that during
Awesome.
this time when this was again for him another one of those long breaks where he was doing life stuff and then he had the chance to come back to it.
Mhm.
And rather than like because he had 3 jobs and he just
Mhm.
moved and all this stuff happening. I don't want to get
Yeah.
too much into detail about his life, but rather than coming on and being all like, sorry, I haven't made a video in a while, he did this, and he just went right into, well, this happened, and this happened, and this is why. And it's like, what
Yeah.
I like about what he did is he turned it into a joke. He
Yeah.
flipped it around so that
Yeah.
you laugh at it instead.
Okay, let's screen the clip.
So in all seriousness, I have a new job. Not one of those second-hand ones. No, I wanted the best. I went to the new job market I said, Mr. Man at the market job place, can I have one of your finest new jobs, please? And he replied with, 2 jobs a pound, mate. You can get 2 jobs for £1. And I said, well, that's great. I need 1. Can I give you 50p for 1? And he goes, no, 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 mate. 2 jobs a pound. You give me £1, you get 2 jobs. So I don't want 2 jobs. I just need 1. And for now, 1 job, please, for 50p. And he goes, no, 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 no. And this went on for about 20 minutes until I realized that I was actually at home and there was a gas leak.
That's pretty funny.
He makes me laugh.
Yeah, I like how he just, he says, "Oh, I have a new job," and instead of going on to like talk about it, he says, takes that whole new job into a joke.
a whole other thing that you weren't even expecting. That's what I love about his videos, and that's how I like I said, he inspires me to make my videos funnier too. It's like, anyways.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. I never really talked too much about my last job on my channel ever because I didn't want to be known as like as that girl, like that being my main identifier in the YouTube community. But I did talk about it occasionally, but it was one of those things where it's like, if I start talking about it, it's gonna be all I talk about. So I just want to like mention it randomly, but not draw too much attention to it.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's one of those things that like I'll talk about it to like someone, not publicly. If I'm talking to just that person privately, then I'll be like, yeah, I do this. But on a public thing, especially if you work in a place where it's possible that somebody could go to that place and find you and see your face, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I want that information out there.
Yeah, definitely. When I, don't put any addresses out there into the world.
Right. If we are friends and I like you enough to say, this is what I do, then that's basically like, I don't mind you knowing this information, you one friend that I'm talking to privately. But if you want to stop by and find my face and say hi, then I'm okay with that. But if everyone else wants to do it too, I don't know, So.
Yeah, for sure. Gotta keep safe. So this other video that you brought, I don't know if you want to introduce it. It's from Awesome Time.
Awesome Time. Awesome Time is another one of those YouTubers that I am constantly being inspired to do better by, like challenge. Like I watch his videos and they crack me up, and I'm like, now I need to be funnier. He watches my channel, and he's aware that I watch his channel. And so we don't talk. I'm not as buddy with him as I am with Jake, but still enough that we acknowledge each other, right? And I think he's even mentioned to me a couple of times that my videos challenge him to be better. And so this again was another one of those take a break for a long time. And he even knowing that he was going to take a break because of life, he even made this big 8-minute long video called The End, where there was this big epic fight between him and all of his fictional characters that he has, where the world ended and everything died, and he adverted it like it was the end of his channel.
Right.
And then 6 months later, he comes back with this video that's like Awesome Time 2.0, like it's new.
Yeah.
And then he comes back and he says, this is why I've been away for a while. And again, with the personal life stuff. But,
I like personal life stuff. Hearing about it.
and the personal life stuff can be good.
Interesting.
And there's not really anything wrong with it, It's just something that I've decided not to.
It's just a choice. Yeah,
That's a personal choice, exactly.
I love the personal stuff too. I love, getting into someone's head who's on YouTube. It's just really interesting. But yeah, there's definitely, you can tell when you're watching a channel if this is, if this is really them, if this is them raw talking about themselves, or if this is, like a character, like your channel, where you're this version of yourself, and it's interesting. They're just different ways of doing YouTube.
Right. And there's nothing wrong with either one, whichever path you. That's the beautiful thing about YouTube is your channel can be whatever you want it to be.
Yeah, exactly. That's fun. So So awesome time. He was 6 months. You said he was
Something like that. I don't
something like
remember
that.
exactly, but long enough for me to actually believe that he was done. You
Yeah.
know.
It's like
So and then
most
so when he
people
comes
didn't
back,
expect it.
exactly.
Interesting.
You're like, oh, he's back. Let's celebrate.
What
You know,
what
I
is
thought he was
this?
done.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, well let's screen that clip.
It's so good to see you again. It's been so long. This is where I live now. Don't know if the people who live on either side can hear me. As you can see, my hair is just as awkward as it's always been. I still look like a little girl. Anyway, so where have I been? Well, to make a long story short, it was a lot of things. A, adapting to college. It was the first time moving out of my home that I loved with my dog and my family. So it was terrifying being out on my own, and the last thing on my mind at the moment was editing this big video that I have.
Yeah, that point he makes at the end is really interesting, is when you're in a new situation, doing different things, all, new life stuff, thinking about editing a giant video or anything.
Yeah.
Kind of like,
He
oh
had this
gosh.
big 8-minute epic video where he's got a bunch of these fictional characters and they all attack him. And
Mhm.
it ends with like he shoots a rocket at the moon and the moon explodes and it falls to
Wow.
Earth and just like it's this huge epic thing that makes you thinking like it's legitimately the end. And so yeah, I can understand totally. He's moving out, he's going to college, he's doing all these real life
Mhm.
things that are consuming his mind. The last thing he's wanting to stress about is editing this huge 8-minute epic video. Like
Yeah.
yeah,
Have you
which is probably
ever,
why it took him forever.
yeah, have you ever felt that way about videos, about the daunting task of creating them, even though it's such a passionate, great thing? Do you ever
I'm
feel
so
that?
happy that you asked that, actually, because for me, it's the opposite.
Me
I'm
too.
so focused on I want to make this video and I want to get it
Yeah.
done that I don't want to go to work. I don't want to do real life things. I don't want to do all these other things. Go away. I want to sit at my computer for 12 hours and make
Yeah.
this stupid video. But I'm happy that you asked that because that goes right in line with uh, the whole change that's happening on my channel.
Mhm.
A couple of weeks ago, I put together a crew that now the Easily Amused Group Productions is now like a full-blown film crew. And a couple of weeks ago, I took my crew to we competed in this 48-hour quick turnaround competition,
Mhm.
and that's where you give 48 hours to make a short film.
Yeah.
And it faced with that daunting task of putting together this whole short film that you have to do in 48 hours. Like I told people I was doing it, and they were like, "Really? That sounds hard. How are you going to do that?" And I'm like, "Actually, it's going to be the funnest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm excited to do this. You know what I mean?"
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
It
that's
sounds
why
awesome.
it was all kinds of fun. It was, I mean, stressful because we
Yeah.
almost didn't make the deadline because of slow internet. But aside from that, which is why the other clip from my channel that I brought was the trailer for the short film that we made
Mhm.
in those 48 hours, which I
Oh,
wish I had more time to
wow.
do and color correct and all that stuff. But aside from that, um, yeah, that's the trailer that I brought is we
Mhm.
actually did that in 48 hours, like in 2 days. We put this whole big thing together, and so
Wow.
that's what I have the other trailer for, or the other
Wow.
clip
Yeah.
for.
Do you want me to screen it right now?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
I am the mechanical engineer, and I want my property back.
Wow. That so epic.
Yeah, man. And again, that goes right in line with the little bit of time that I have throughout the week, balancing between real life and job and all this. And I have a commute that's an hour one way, so like I'm spending so much time in the real world. I have to take stock and be like, do I want to make a sit in front of the camera telling silly jokes kind of video, or do I want to put effort into a bigger video, a film project, you know, a big thing? Which is what I want, you know, which is what I want more. I want both, but which do I want? What's the priority? You know what I mean? And so that's why there hasn't been any kind of sit in front of my camera and tell a joke video on my channel for months, but there's been all this stuff about these big projects that I'm doing now. You know, that, and then the last short film I directed, and then this big music video that I did, and all this stuff, the bigger stuff, the aiming higher stuff, so to speak.
Great. That's
I hope this advice helps someone else, because I can't be the only person that's thinking in these terms.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it takes a lot of bravery to switch so drastically with your channel and your content, because, you know, there's some safety in consistency, you know, in the continuity of a channel, and you know that your viewers are going to expect it, and it takes a lot of courage to really just kind of completely change what you're doing, and, you know, because you want to hope that everybody's going to be on board, but you know that not everybody's going to, because that's just the reality of it. So, you know, that's bravo.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That was some real adult decision making right there. You know.
Yeah.
I took some time, sat back and like, okay, what I'm doing, I like it, but it's not working. Got to go in another direction. What do I want to do? And this is what I want to do. You know, this kind of stuff is where I want my career to be. So that's what I'm going to do. And so.
Awesome. That's really great. So, is there anything else people can expect from your channel? Any more short films?
Well, I'll tell you this. It's going to be a lot more of this kind of stuff. I did, being that we had 48 hours, we were on a time constraint. The short film we ended up delivering to the competition was not exactly the one that we wanted to deliver, so I'm actually creating a director's cut of it that's longer and bigger and better. And then we're doing another film competition in a couple of weeks, and so there'll be stuff about that on my trailer, and then we'll probably be doing another one shortly after that, and then I'm actually scripting a movie, a feature movie I'm going to do, and then we're talking, my crew is talking about doing a series, and it's going to be these big, exciting projects like this is what my channel is probably going to be from now on.
That's awesome. I can't wait.
Neither can I.
Series. I love series on YouTube. I love YouTube, you know, as a sort of television but not thing. So that's cool.
Exactly. Yeah. There's so many great series out there, and there's like one of my favorites is Platoon and Power Squadron, and just I look at what they do and how big that is, and I'm like, we don't even need. Like, I haven't watched TV in like forever, you know, because there's so much great stuff online. And then the great thing about that is I can do that, and I can put my stuff up online also.
Yeah.
So why aren't I?
Well, you are now.
Why aren't I is because I have a real, you know, a job and full-time stuff that takes time. That's why.
Yeah.
You can't tell that I hate my day job at all, can you?
Oh, well, I wish you the best of success with your YouTube channel.
Thank you kindly.
Your
Appreciate
films
that.
and everything. And before we end, why don't you tell everybody who's watching or listening how they can find your channel so they can go and subscribe and watch everything.
Awesome. Yeah, you can go to youtube.com/Thomas Tulak, or you can, easier is just search on YouTube for the Easily Amused group. That's what I like the best. We're Easily Amused Group Productions, and just search Easily Amused Group, and you'll find me.
Awesome. Well, thank you everyone at home for watching and or listening. Remember, tweet us your videos or videos that you love to @YT Talk Podcast and let us know who you want to see me interview here next. Thank you again. Stay subscribed to Magic Cat Jenny. There is more on the way, and I will see you next time. Bye.